you could. Yeah. Times are changing everywhere. Do we dream and do we dare? It's up to you. The door is open wide. Feel the rhythm of today. Learn the part and join the play. The world is here. Let's take it for a ride. You could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You could have all you ever wanted, shoot the moon and reach for Mars. You know you could. Larger, larger than, bigger, bigger than, living hopes and dreams. Every boy and girl, higher, higher than, brighter, brighter than, all you wanted. You know, you could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You can have all you ever you could.
I'll just have a cup of coffee, then I'll go. Thought that
Welcome to the Grand Columbia channel, and welcome to our Sunday show, Coffee Time Live. It's where I talk about what's new in Armenia, Colombia, and field questions from the curious life planners and Walter Mitties of the world. Today has been the theme since March. It's all about the lockdown. In Armenia, at least. Hey, hello. Troppy Tractor. Maybe you're new. I haven't seen that name before. The rest of you, see you every Sunday. It was announced yet again the lockdown would continue until August 30th. That makes number 8 official extensions and number 9 non-official. The new mayor wanted to change up the rules and isolate everyone and only allow you to go out once a week and no one out on weekends. That was not going to fly. There was some blowback on that. So she dropped back to the way it was before, mostly. Anyway, here's the schedule. Where is it? Here's the schedule. Impares is odd, pares is even. This is through the 9th, but it's a reoccurring theme, and you notice Saturday and Sunday will be open. Odd, what's the odd and even? Well, if the last digit of your ID number is odd, or if it's even, then you have your designated day. My ID ends in 2, so obviously I'm even. And you can go out and enter banks and stores, anything official, if it matches up. Every day you can go out for 2 hours to walk, but there's a curfew every night at 10 p.m. And it's become a dry city from Friday night to Monday morning. No booze, no drinking. You can't go buy it. The bars are closed anyway. Good morning from Medellin. Again, you were here before. Been following me undercover. Yeah, a lot of people do that. What's amazing is the number of views versus the number of subscribers. People are afraid to subscribe, but it does help, or so I'm told. So anyway, welcome to my life. I'm living in a little apartment waiting for this all to pass so I can start up my life again. The coating on my of dust on my car is getting way out of control. I've yet to be able to go get my driver's license. And when this does pass, I have a ton of things to do to get ready for my travel videos. As you know, I've made it abundantly clear that lately I've been wallowing in depression the past few months. As many regular viewers know, I was sick and stuck in a bed for 2.5 years. I was unable to go walk around. I had to crawl on my hands and knees to go to the bathroom and lived on fast food home delivery. It was a pretty dark time in my life. This lockdown has brought much of that back. It's difficult to shake the feelings and not see the obvious comparisons. But I'm not a depressive person by nature, and I've been trying to get back some perspective. I'm feeling much better and put my energy into planning my trips when I can go out again. Just as I had put my effort into finding a country to go live in after I was going to be no longer sick. Now, that was not the easiest thing to do because they were telling me I was going to die. And my brother had the same thing and he died. And, you know, typically that's the case. So to get out of the hole and not feel suicidal and, you know, have a real depression, I had to think, that's just not true. And I need to plan my life. You know, I need something positive. And so that's what I did. And that's what helped me stay on track. And I'm using that again to get myself focused. So I'll still complain, and I'm clearly not happy about it. That internal cloud has lifted, and I no longer feel that I'm falling into a dark hole. Some of you will understand what I mean. Now, that still leaves me without any real video topics. So we'll all just have to mark time for a few more weeks. I'm still open for any ideas. And, from here, we're going to take a look at some headlines. But let me take a look here. Girlfriend just finished taking the driving course in Armenia. Awesome. Yeah, there's only one open right now, and I just didn't want to go there. There's another one that's a little more non-Spanish speaking friendly. And so I'm kind of holding out for that one because the one that she went to, the only one open, it's kind of sink or swim. And that's okay. And if that's what I have to do, that's what I'll do. But I'd rather go to the other one where they're a little more patient. You know, it's like I can understand a lot, but I wouldn't say I'm fluent. Last week I'm starting to see people sell personal items in the street. Yeah, it's run its course, and it's really why I find it very difficult and depressing. Let me get rid of that. To go out and see the things that I'm seeing. And if you're wondering what that green bar is, those are people that are members of the channel. So thank you. I appreciate it. What else? Good morning. Been following you undercover. Saw that. Good morning for Robert. I didn't know you were on here. I thought you weren't going to make it. I'm glad to see you. Oh, here's a little statement that. There we go. Looks like freedom, but it feels like death. I've been listening to a lot of Leonard Cohen for the past few months. I mean, I love him. I've always loved him, but every once in a while a song will pop up I had never heard before. And this was just this morning I was taking a shower and the song was on. I'm listening to it as I'm showering, and from Alexa. She keeps me company. And he said this and I started laughing because it just kind of fit the what's going on here and everywhere. We're not alone in this. It's all over the place. Oh yeah, there was another thing. Let me pull out here. Here's an old history picture in black and white of people eating in a restaurant way back in 2019. Yeah. Anyway, how you guys doing? Let's get to some news. Where is it? No, I've got it here somewhere. And switch. Hey, there it is. Okay, so as I said, the president extended the mandatory preventative isolation, this translation, in the country till August 30th. They still haven't said anything different about flights being opened up September 1st. I know he wants to open, but he's got way too much political flack to just be able to do it, apparently. You know, he said a statement that I thought was awesome, that you can't run and hide from, I'm paraphrasing, taking a lot of liberty, but you can't run and hide from a virus. You have to learn to live your life. You're going to have to learn to live with it. And he did say something like you have to learn to live with it, and that's true. And so anyway, this is the latest statement on that. And next we got Armenian City Hall confirms curfew and dry law throughout the city, which I've already mentioned. This nice picture is downtown. And this talks about the curfew and dry laws, and here's the list. Okay, talked about that already. Colombia registers the highest number of infections by COVID-19 in one day, over 10,000 new cases. It does seem to be spiking here. Even here in Quindío, we had, I think, do I have it on a headline topic here? No. No. 200 and some cases. 100 and some are basically recovered. So there's 100 or so active cases. And do I have that Salento article? Yeah, okay. So this one, somebody asked me last week about, is there Wi-Fi here in the parks? And there's not only Wi-Fi in the parks. I pulled this up for you. 17 social Wi-Fi zones. So aside from just the parks, there's areas in the south end of the city, you know, the poorer areas, where there is a free Wi-Fi throughout the area. And that's paying off big time now, because people that can't afford Wi-Fi, you know, have that Wi-Fi, and it's keeping them in touch, you know, basically for the rules, social media. You know, I don't know what we'd be doing. You know, if we didn't have the internet, I think there'd be riots in the streets. You know, people are just kind of, okay, I can keep myself. It's kind of like a drug, you know, you can keep yourself in oblivion. I can pour myself into this, maybe, you know, watch TVs or movies, or, you know, get on social media and various things on the internet, and just kind of not think about it. And I think that's what keeps people in check. But if you had to go, you know, a half a year without that kind of distraction, I just can't imagine, you know, it would probably look like Portland. So anyway, we do have that for sci-fi. Get ready to ask some questions. Positive cases of coronavirus in Salento are from people from Medellin. This was an interesting story. Salento's been, you know, pretty good, but what they found was there's a group of people that it's created a lot of resentment, anger with the people that are there, because they came in. There's police around these towns. Like if I got in my car and I tried to go to Salento, they would not let me in. As a matter of fact, they probably wouldn't even let me out of Armenia. Basically, everything's blockaded. But what they did in Salento is these groups of people, forget what the number is, like under 10. But they came in stealthy like after midnight. And, you know, I don't know if, you know, police are just not bothering to guard at that time. You know, things are kind of loose here in Candio, and there's a lot of, you know, trust and faith in doing the right thing, and kind of old-timey morals. But in any case, they were able to come in under cover of darkness, got into Salento, and now the town has this big outbreak. And they've gone all this time without having this, and there's been a bunch of cases popping up all over the place. And of course, they're blaming the people in Medellin because they all have the virus. So, a lot of upset people over that. So I found that a little interesting. Thought you might want to see it. And let's see. Let me get back here. And it's time for questions and answers. Yeah, I went kind of quick today. You know, I just don't know what to talk about. But I know that you know, I like to see you guys, and I know there's always a lot of questions. So, you know, we're still doing this show, and I may have to stop, you know, before September. You know, you'll let me know. You guys are always telling me that. Anyway, it's Q&A time. It's time to start asking your questions. Remember, 4 question marks first, then ask the question. Okay, so here we go. Where's that question's not coming up on the screen that I can see. It's only on that little screen. What's the hold up here? Let me refresh. Bear with me a second here. I can see it. I can see it on my software, but it's such tiny print. I just can't read it. And I have the second screen, but Sebastian is the last comment on it. Here we go. It's refreshing. Let's see if we can get it to come up. It's operating really slow. Something going on this computer apparently. Must be something running in the background. I don't know. All right. Well, let me squint and see if I can read it from here. Bear with me. Oh, popped up. About Ibagué, as you mentioned, it's hotter. But is it, as they say, a dry heat or humid? It's a hot heat. It's hot. It's that kind of day where you go out and you start walking, and within a relatively short period of time, you feel the energy being drained out of your body. It's that kind of heat. It's hard to go out and walk around for 3 or 4 hours and not feel exhausted by the end of it. I would say it runs more humid than dry. It's just not great. It's really the downside of Ibagué, and it's probably why not a lot of people go there to live, even though if it wasn't running so hot all the time, it would be a pretty cool place to be. What is the best way to visit the coffee access? You mean best way as in buses, cars? The best way depends on what you want to visit. If you want to see the tourist highlights, and I don't say that in a bad way, that's actually a good thing, and I think people should do that. You come to Armenia, or Manizales, but you know, we'll talk about Armenia, and you get an Airbnb or you rent a hotel, and then you either get somebody to take you around, which I would suggest, because it always makes it more interesting, or you just go. I do that a lot on my own, and you go to the coffee park in Panaca. You can go to the hot springs. There's a lot of things that you can do. Now, if you want to go to a coffee farm, I highly recommend that you get a tour. It can be a private tour. It can be with a small group, 7, 8, 9 people. If you're interested in any of those things, go to my website, grandcolumbia.live, and you'll find a tab there. I don't remember what it's called, but it's things that I do or I can hook you up with. So take a look at that. You ask, can I serve as a guide? Yes, normally, yes, I can do that. And that's part of why I bought the car. You know, the car is an expense, but I thought that if I subsidize it with things like that, then it'll pay for itself and I won't have to worry about it. Why don't you go down to the garage to wash the car? It would be good exercise, because you can't. There's no water outlet down there. I actually talked to them about certain things that could be done, but all you have down there is lights, which are they're not the best. I mean, it's a garage, and so it's great for a garage. And if you're near the windows, you're okay. It's also where my bodega is, storage room. Of course, that has its own electricity. There's one electrical outlet anywhere near the part of garage where I am, and it's up on the ceiling, which you could climb on something, get up there and plug in, but you'd have to get an extension cord. But even then, there's no water in the garage. There are drains, but there's no water, so that's why. I know all of this because I was going to do exactly that. I was going to go down and wash it, because it's way beyond writing things in it. The things that I wrote in it a few months ago, they just self-erased or filled in with other dust. It's okay, I'm exaggerating, but it's my point. Well, I'm very much exaggerating. My point is, it's just gathering dust down there. It's just my weird way to keep myself smiling while I talk about something I got to complain about. I got the car thinking that within 2 weeks I was going to go get my license, which takes a week, and then register the car and start on my trip. So I thought 2 weeks for it to end, another couple weeks to get everything out of the way, and I'm ready to go. And April, May, we've been going 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. This time around, it was just 30 days. This was the first one that was more than 2 weeks. Any other questions? It kicked off again. Okay, I just have to read on the screen here. Where do you think Colombia is going as a country? And from that, do you recommend starting up a business according to the panorama? Guy, I'll get right back to yours, Guy. I saw that one first. It's hard with this small print. Well, I put this big screen up, and I have no idea what's going on with it, but it's not cooperating. Where do I think Colombia is going to go? And would I do a business? I wouldn't do a business, but and I'm a business kind of person, but it depends on so much. What kind of visa do you have? You may not be able to do a business, and it could become very expensive. Would somebody comment on here is this coming through very clear for you, or is the picture a little fuzzy? Is it normal? There may be some issue, although it says I'm in the green and it shows no drop frame, so it says it's going out normally. But anyway, as far as the business goes, it's something I don't recommend, because unless you're prepared to come here, you're a younger guy, and you want to make a life here and you've got money to invest. in which case you get a business visa. You're going to have a substantial investment somewhere around 100 grand. Businesses are always risky. I see a lot of opportunity here because there's so many things in the United States about business that if you're really on top of your game there, you will come here and you will see a ton of opportunities, a lot of untapped things. But also, when you have a business, all of a sudden you're putting yourself in the realm of federal taxes. And all of that can get pretty complicated. So to come here and retire is one thing. To come here and have a business is a whole different ballgame. So I'm not saying no, and I think it'll be prime for business after this is over, but businesses will be a risk. There's something I plan on right now getting involved in, but I'm not going to be a business owner. And it's going to be basically a tour guide thing that someone else is going to do, and I'll affiliate myself with it. But the license won't be in my name or anything like that. Good day, sir. Regarding writers in your surrounding... Oh. Pick them up. Yep. Regarding writers in your surrounding area, have there been any books, plays, or short stories come from the current environment? No idea. I don't read Spanish books. It's not good enough. I mean, I can read subtitles on a TV show and miss a word here or there, but basically, I know what they're saying. But to sit down with a book, it would just be way too tedious for me. And so it's just not something, it's funny, in the US I was all about constant reading, but here not so much. I guess my life is video now. Want to relocate to Armenia next year. It's a great place. Fine here, crystal clear, good, all clear, normal. Yes, fine, looks good. Opportunity, but not much for profit. Yes and no. The thing is, my entire life was in the business world, and the later part of my life, I made a lot of money doing consulting gigs. I made a lot of money giving speeches in front of groups. The most I ever made was in Long Island. It was a group of about 500 people. It was a small group, but it was a sweet gig, so I'm going to tell you about it. They paid for the plane fare there and back. They picked me up in a limo, paid for the hotel, took me to a dinner after the 2-hour, well, the speech wasn't quite 2 hours, but the whole thing was about 2 hours, and paid me $20,000. That was pretty sweet. Typically, I would get about $5,000 to speak in front of groups. The largest group I ever spoke in front of, you'll be underwhelmed, was in Orlando, Florida at the convention center. And I don't know the exact count, but there were four of the rooms where they moved the petitions back. And I was told it was somewhere over 2,000 people. So that's the largest group. Mostly my consulting was actually to go to a business, spend a day or two going around the business, taking notes as I go, and then sitting down and coming up with a way that they could become profitable, because you never get called unless they're in trouble. As a matter of fact, of all the ones I looked at, there was only one that wasn't in the red. Everybody else was like a month or two away from bankruptcy. And out of desperation, he gave me a call. And I'm happy to say that not a single one ever went bankrupt, at least within the year after I went there. And it's just the knack that I've always had. I can go in, look at a business, and I can see the holes in it like instantly. And so that's what I did. And I would get paid usually a couple $1,000s a week to do that, plus expenses. So that part of my life was kind of fun, although I did get really sick of traveling, and I got really sick of hotel rooms. But There's always something, right? What happened here? This down. Can you? What's the best way to visit Coffee Access? Can you serve as a guide? Did I answer that? Didn't I think I read it and didn't answer it? Yes, I can serve as a guide. Oh yeah, I was saying depends on. I sort of answered it. The best way is probably with a guide or with tours, although you can go out on your own and, wing it. My life is, I actually like to go on my own for a lot of things, but after I was here for a while, I've been to all these things. When I'm doing videos and I go anywhere outside of just right where I am, I always try to take somebody because I need somebody to help me. Have you watched Distrito Salvaje Wild District TV? I'm hearing Colombians find that realistic compare. No, I haven't. Haven't even heard about it. Although I do watch Spanish shows once in a while. I'm right now doing the new the Simon Bolivar is like God in South America, and I've read books and I've seen movies, but there's a series that I actually never watched, and I never watched it because it's so much soap opera, and the history is they take a lot of liberties with the history. They foreshadow obviously a lot. When he's 14 years old, 16, they're foreshadowing how great he's going to be in the future, and they smooth over, they gloss over a lot of things, but I'm watching it anyway. There's 60 episodes of it, and I'm watching it with in Spanish. There's 60 episodes of it, and I think I'm up to maybe 12 or 14. They do, it's funny. It's funny you bring that up, that TV show that I'm not familiar with. It's painful for them to hear the view from the outside about Pablo and drugs and the Civil War and all of that, because outsiders don't understand what really happened. They don't know. They see things from 30 years ago as how Colombia is today. And so it hurts. It hurts for them to hear outsiders out of ignorance, not intentionally, but they just don't know any better, view Colombia in a way that it's not. Having said that, they absolutely love certain shows. There's one that I watched for a while, Colombian in Spanish. I can't remember the name of it. There's a girl that's like the hero of the show, and it's all about she grew up in Medellin, and as a kid was involved, had to run from gangs, and she became as she grew up, she became really tough and wouldn't take crap from anybody. And I can't remember the name of that show. Very soap opera-y. They love that stuff. And I watched that for a while, but it got a little too syrupy for me. And they love Pablo shows. So watching it, but you see, they watch it in perspective. And what bothers them about outsiders is they have no perspective, and that's where it comes in. It's like it becomes insulting. Now, I can talk about it with people here because I know what it's really like, and so I don't say ignorant or hurtful things about it because I'm aware of the situation, I'm current on it, and I lived through some of it, so I kind of get it. But that's why I started it. It's Bogota based, focused on the FARC people being reintegrated. Some were reintegrated. A lot of them basically just continued. The FARC were criminals. People want to think they were some socialist movement. it was under the guise of that, but they're really a criminal organization. And they survived by crime. They survived by having coca slaves and taking over villages and kidnappings and robberies and every crime you can imagine, human trafficking. That's the FARC. And so some integrated back, some were just, they'd had enough and they've integrated back into society. Others said, I'm not giving that up. And so they're still out there. But they are relegated to certain areas of the country. I mean, if you're walking around here, you're not going to run into somebody, but interesting. Maybe I'll look for. I've seen the name. I've seen the name before, but I just kind of skip past. There's only so much. I have to really want to see something in order for me to have to wade through the Spanish. It's difficult, and if I'm hearing Spanish for more than a few hours, I get a headache. My brain just can't process it properly. It looks like it's working again. Yeah, the show doesn't seem sugar-coated at all about the history. You might like it. Yeah, maybe I would. I'll take a look at it. What else? What else have I got to do? Actually, I've got my schedule kind of lined up. That's why I got this Bolivar thing, because, I've got another 50-some episode or 40-some episodes to go through. Subtitles. Well, a lot of these don't have subtitles, at least if I'm using the Colombian Netflix. Now, I did get that free thing, and I think you asked me, but somebody asked me what was the free. It was a limited thing. It's not there anymore. And when the free ended, I subscribed to it because I got a rate for the next year of, I think it was $1.99 a month. So I went ahead and subscribed to it. I've had Netflix all along, but now I can look at the US Netflix, except a lot of the things that I was going to watch, it doesn't matter. And so I just click in, and it's complicated, but I recommend La Hida de Mara. You can find it on YouTube, filmed in Colombia, set in Bogota. Great fun. Helps you learn Spanish and even greater music. How does it help me learn Spanish? These shows don't seem to help me, but it's like I want to see it, and so I struggle with it, but I don't seem to come out. As a matter of fact, my Spanish has gone backwards with this lockdown. When you go out every day and you're interacting with storekeepers and even people on the street, taxi drivers, whatever, it kind of keeps things fresh in your mind, and it keeps growing. I went through a tremendous growth, once I got here, which I didn't in Ecuador, but when I got here, and now, it's like, I don't know, it seems to be kind of hanging in there, but so I don't know that I'm forgetting things, but certainly it's not growing. Okay, do we have any other questions? I know I ramble on. You watch the channel, I'm afflicted with that. Can't seem to help it. All right, I see something there. Didn't come up on that screen. Oh, there it is. Easy to watch, and you can start feeling what is being said. Pretty soon you're following along and the words become familiar. Yeah, look, I've been watching Spanish TV for decades. I could say decades. Not as a regular diet, but in the last 5 years, a lot. And for whatever reason, I'm a bad learner for certain things. And it's funny because when I went to Japan, within 1 year, I was fluent. I don't mean kind of fluent. I mean, I was fluent. I would go out, run into people, and they were just amazed at the Spanish, and they told me that I spoke even without an accent, which I didn't think was that difficult to do in Japan. I said Spanish, I meant in Japanese. Lived in Japan, learned Japanese, and I was fluent. But there's something about Spanish that I'm a rockhead when it comes to it. And I've tried every which way. I've been through various courses and Rosetta Stone and a couple of the online ones. And I had people living in my house, you know, for a year that one spoke a little English, but basically there were 4 people there that didn't really speak English. And the one I interacted with most didn't speak any English. And I just struggle with it. I just have trouble with it. My favorite Colombian movie is, we all do it differently. That's the thing, you know, so there is no set thing. I'm just a rockhead when it comes to Spanish. I had a trauma about Spanish, and I don't think I've ever shaken it entirely. My favorite Colombian movie is a serious comedy called Bolivar Soy Yo. I am Bolivar. About an actor who plays the role of Bolivar in a soap opera, dresses in general uniform, and gets into the character. That might be funny. Send me a link to that, or the name, so that I don't forget, please. To my phone. You have my WhatsApp. Okay, here's more basic reason to watch it. The main actress is beautiful, and you will fall in love with her. Oh my God. I don't know if there's any more room for me to fall in love with any more beautiful Colombian women. Can't talk about that. Do people here like watching American TV shows? Yeah. Colombians, for the most part, I mean, you're going to find exceptions, but the vast majority of Colombia identifies with, admires, respects the United States. They don't really see it as, oh my God, you're so amazing. They see the United States as equals with a lot of shared history and a partnership that's gone on for many, many years prior to World War II. And despite all the bad that you hear about things that the U.S. does everywhere, and in Colombia, well, you know, things will happen. You have any relationship with anybody, you're going to step on toes and you're going to make some mistakes. But overall, it's been a good relationship for 2 centuries. We were not long out of our revolution for independence when they had theirs, and there was a lot of interaction. Bolivar got a lot of inspiration from France and from the United States, and so it runs deep. It's historical, and socially they identify far more with the United States than with Spain or anywhere else. Now, there's a thing about Spain, though, of course, that if you talk about anybody who wants to travel, if it's not the United States, it's Spain. And they do see the United States as a land of opportunity, but Colombia, prior to this lockdown, had become, or was becoming, it was kind of in that gray area. The economy's been growing for the last 15 years, and it was really getting pretty strong. And the middle class, it's gotten stronger and stronger. So, and it's a nice thing. It's one of the reasons you'll find people so welcoming here if you're from the U.S. Or if you're from Canada and they think you're from the U.S. is because there are such close ties. A lot of brands in the store are from the U.S., where in Ecuador you had to go to certain stores to find something. Here, I mean, if you want Prego spaghetti sauce, I can go to a store not far from here and buy it. There's a lot of things. Palmolive soap is one of the more popular soaps, even though they have lots of brands made here in Colombia. Colombia is almost self-sufficient in manufacturing. They make a lot of things here themselves. But when it comes to like a washing machine, they view anything that comes from the United States as being superior. What they don't realize in a lot of cases like Maytag, I don't think Maytag is made in the U.S. anymore. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But they see Maytag as like a superior brand. So, okay, I'm going on and on about the ties, but it's expressed to me all the time, so I'm sharing it with you. That he starts believing he is Bolivar and the actual population starts following him. Awesome. He had a gift for gab, that's for sure. He wrote quite a bit. You can read some of his original writings. A lot of it was when he went to France the first time, he met with Napoleon, who was a consul at the time. He wasn't head dictator. But prior to him getting a lot of power, he was known for his rhetoric and his original thoughts. And Bolivar was very attracted to that. And he used him as an example of inspiring rhetoric. I don't remember the quote. I read it too long ago, and it was not in the show that I'm watching. But he attributed, he said something about he could get a stone to follow a river, you know, with his rhetoric, with his talk, with his words. I have no idea. I don't remember what it was. It was something weird like that. And of course, the United States. So, you know, you had the French Revolution that had taken place. You have, you know, in the United States. And so, you know, he drew all that inspiration. Maytag was bought up by Whirlpool. I'm sorry, I said Maytag. I actually meant Whirlpool. And they are manufactured in Wisconsin. Okay, Whirlpool is what's considered to be like a top brand here. It's also really expensive. And my Colombian washer, I love it. It reminds me a lot of an LG, except the price tag of about a third as much. I mean, you go up and you press a button and it moves and it automatically weighs what's in there, and it doesn't have any kind of paddles to beat up your clothes, and it puts in the amount of water based on what you put in there. Everything is automated. You don't have to do anything. You can manually do things, but why? And I've tried it with different size loads, different types of things, and it's pretty cool to watch it work, because as it's doing it, the lights are flashing for what it's measuring. In other words, it was a $75 washing machine that operated like my $800 LG back in North Carolina. Okay, I heard that watching Spanish children's cartoons is a good way to learn Spanish. Not for me. I tried that. Actually, I tried watching SpongeBob in Spanish, and a couple others. I think the expat appeal of Colombia might go down if the middle class takes a serious long-term damage due to you know what. Well, yeah. Honestly, expat appeal to me. I'm selfish. I care about me. Now, if people are really interested and they contact me, I share everything that I can with them. But if people decide tomorrow they no longer want to come to Colombia, I'm fine. The car, yeah, maybe I just sell it, you know, because I can't, it has ongoing costs, you know, so maybe I just sell it. But other than that, I don't know. Maybe there won't be a call for videos if that happens. But I have such a small membership. I'm under just almost 3,000 people are subscribed to the channel. To me, that's a lot, but you know, in the world of YouTube, it's nothing. But it also took me four years to get there, and I was at 1,000 the first year, and my most popular videos are actually from when I was in Cuenca in Ecuador. I only have a couple videos in Colombia that kind of reach that kind of view. Try as I might, Spanish just doesn't register with me either. Yeah, it's a struggle, but here's the thing. I've done the you know, the groups, the language sharing. I've done official classes. I've told you I did the online, I did the Rosetta Stone. The only thing that works for me with Spanish is slowly absorbing it as I'm out and about. That works for me. Now with Japanese, I went to university. There was an extension that I was doing my second degree. My second college degree I was doing while I was in the military, and there were on-base extensions, and the University of Maryland had an on-base extension in Japan, and that was one that I could actually go sit down in a classroom. There were professors that were from the University of Maryland, and they had a Japanese program, and it was excellent for me because Japanese is so easy. Japanese is like mathematics. It's really simple. And I learned it quick. And in a year, as I said, I became fluent. But nothing about Japan. And I had a Japanese girlfriend, of course. That didn't hurt. But nothing seems to work well for me. People recommend all kinds of things. And the thing is, I don't think there's anything out there that I haven't tried. And I don't mean try like for a day or two. I mean try because I want to be better at it. Oh yeah, look, coffee time. But I don't know. It's a struggle for me. I've told the story before. I have a little trauma. Okay, stop texting me. It's making a beep. Sorry, I asked him to do it too. So anyway, I don't know what can I say. The only thing that works for me is just daily absorbing it, and I get my improvement there. I did have a breakthrough when I first started my language sharing classes, but it plateaued quickly. To do something right, it must be done twice. The first time instructs the second. Well, that's a different quote, but yeah. Maybe sometime you could do an in-depth segment about the weather in Armenia, Pareda, and Manizales, like the differences in the amount of rainfall, temperature, etc. That's a thought. I think it'll be pretty boring, and it's something that I can do in 6 minutes. But I hear you. I've never done it specifically for weather. And that's probably a good video to do. It's actually a good suggestion because I can put it in a playlist and people don't have to go through some other topic to get what I say about the weather. I talk about the weather a lot in various videos, but if you do a search, how are you going to find it? Good thought. I've been thinking about that a lot, as a matter of fact. There's a lot of topics. You have to, if you watch my videos from the start, close to 500 videos, there isn't anything that I haven't covered, really. But is it realistic that somebody's going to sit down and watch, or in Colombia, 250 videos, they're going to sit down and watch all 250 videos with a notepad and find all of that information? Because when I do the videos, they're unscripted, and I just go out, for the most part. I'll often do an outline. If it's a talking head thing, I'll do an outline. The intro this morning, a lot of you probably figured out that I kind of written it down. I was trying something. It was a little awkward, but you know, you try different things. So I had written it down. You may have picked up on that. But when I go out and I do a video, I'm walking down the street, I'm winging it, you know, as thoughts come to me, because I'm showing you what it's like. I'm walking down the sidewalk, I see this, oh, what pops into my head? Well, I say it on the camera. You know, I speak into the back of the microphone and give my thought on that. I keep going when I go places. That's what I tend to do. And so when I was in Pareda, I'm walking down the street, and it was pretty warm. And of course, I start talking about the weather and the differences in weather. And so I had a segment in that Pareda video that was probably the definitive statements for a few minutes on weather for Pareda. But would you know that? you know, and how could you search that? So it's a great suggestion. Thanks for the referral for the Wednesday night Spanish-English language exchange. Most of the participants are Colombians, of course. It was pretty fun. You're welcome. I thought you might be interested in that. There was no notice. I gave it to you like 5 minutes after I got it. What he's talking about is there's language exchange things around here, and of course they can't get together now. So they have virtual, they have online language exchange. And so I told Rob, a friend of mine, I sent him the link to it, and this last Wednesday, and he went on, and apparently he enjoyed it. Maybe that's something to do a video about. But if you go to the Adventure in Grand Colombia Facebook page, I posted a link on there to something titled like English Speakers in Colombia. If you scroll down, I posted it just a few days ago, so it won't be that far down. And you can join that page, and it'll tell you about classes or groups, and it'll show you some online things. And of course, you know, something like that, there's no charge to it. That's what I was thinking, putting all the info into one video. Yeah, it is something I've been thinking about doing. Why haven't I done it? Because those things aren't really fun for me. I don't like being in front of the camera. It's awkward for me. Years later, still awkward for me. Here, you know, I have to edit these, so I'm seeing me, I'm hearing my voice, and I'm cringeworthy. And I know some of you think that, because I get, well, right there's a thumbs down I got already this morning, and it's because I'm boring, and you know, I'm cringeworthy. So for me, I am. For some people, I'm not, but some people I am. And so to sit down and edit that, to do that, it's boring for me, and I'm selfish. So, but when I'm out walking around, I'm having a good day. I'm enjoying myself. I'm seeing things, and I'm making comments as I go. Almost like if I'm showing somebody around Armenia. They come here, we have a coffee, we go out, walk around, and I say, over here is this, and over there is that. That's cool. That's fun. I can do that. I could do that all day long. And so that's why you get those kind of videos. I think they're easier to watch. Plus, when I'm doing those, I'm not doing myself in the camera. I'm showing the scenery or whatever it is I'm looking at. I'm behind it, and I'm talking. And so I'm more relaxed. I never get relaxed doing that. I'm never relaxed. And if you know me, you know that when I do these things, it's not really the same me you meet in person, except once in a while I get passionate, animated about something, and it all goes away and I become myself. But for a lot of these videos, my voice is kind of monotone, kind of drags along, da-da-da-da. And of course, I'll get thumbs down. And I don't even resent them. It's like, I probably do the same. Okay, we have... And of course, I ramble on forever. I'm the kind of guy that probably should be scripted. Yeah, we're coming up on an hour. So, last call for any questions. And if not, then we'll put this to bed another week. Okay, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, if you're of a mind. If you like the channel, subscribe. If you don't like the channel, subscribe anyway. You know, to remind you to return every time I'm on, where you can put some kind of cringy comment or a thumbs down, you know, and feel better. Just show photos and do a voiceover. I do that quite a bit, actually. But just photos and voiceover those are my least watched videos for whatever reason. And if you do a video, you know, it's like you kind of hope people are going to watch it. And those are my least watched videos. And interviews rank real low. I look at these things and, you know, what type of video is more popular. These coffee times are pretty popular, but mostly the man on the street kind of thing. Those are the big popular videos. Those are the ones people want to see. They want to feel like it's their eyes and they're walking along and I'm making comments about things and pointing things out. That's what people like the most. And those are the ones I enjoy the most. The photo type with the back, it takes a lot of work. You wouldn't believe the amount of work it takes for me. And they're not viewed that much because, frankly, I'm not good enough at that to make them as interesting as they probably could be. And interviews, those are the ones that surprise me. I don't know why. I've got some interviews that are amazing. The couple that traveled for a year all around South America to find where they wanted to live. And they didn't just travel like skipping through. They hit really every town, village, and city along the way through Central America, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru. And they would spend minimum 2 or 3 days in a place to get the feel of it and then move on to the next one down the road. And they took a year doing it. So they hit a lot of places. And I first met them when I was living in Cuenca, Ecuador. They are now living not far from me here in Colombia. They ended up, after Peru, they knew that where they really wanted to be with Colombia, and there was just no point in looking anymore. And they came back, and it was a coffee region that they settled down in. Last I knew, I haven't talked to them in a while, but they're pretty happy. But there's a series of 4 or 5 videos for that interview, and it's a wealth of good firsthand information of comparisons from a fresh perspective, you know, seeing these different countries from, you know, fresh eyes. And I thought it was awesome. And it's just, they're just not watched very much. Okay, I hope you haven't forgotten how to use your Osmo. I have. Last time I took it out, I came back and it was unusable. It's not the easiest thing to use. Once you figure it out, it's okay. But I go out and I forgot all the little tricks that I have to do in order to have it work. So once you know it, you do it a couple times, you get it down, and it's awesome. But it's you got to keep practicing. Oh, I forgot to do this. I forgot to do that. I forgot to do this. And so I'll get it when I'm ready. I'll go out and I'll do a couple dry runs, come back and remember it all, and I'll be able to use it again. I love the camera because it allows me to take videos that I stopped from taking with anything else. Why can't you find city maps like in America? I'm not sure what you mean. You can. There's city maps. I recall that they didn't check out, or maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember now, but I followed them on a map and there wasn't much that they missed. Now, they, you know, I'm sure there's a little place here or there that they might have missed, but what I'm saying is they not only went to the places that are popular for tourist guides, but they went to the tier down from that and the tier down for that. I mean, they went to, you know, 2 dog villages, and you know, they hit the Amazon, that area that's real shady, black market, kind of off the grid. They were all over the place. So maybe there's a place here or there. I mean, I shouldn't say they went to every place. They didn't go to the one on the north end of Peru next to the Ecuador border. Why can't I? Tulcan? I've been there, and I can't. Oh, this memory. So there's some places they didn't go. Don't take me literally. Is it possible to post the language exchange information? Yeah, I've got it posted on the adventure in Grand Colombia. But if you send me an email, I'll email it back to you. I'd like to see if I can Skype with somebody that wants to learn English and help teach me Spanish. Well, those language exchange programs are perfect for you, and it'll be a group of people. No more birding videos. I love that video, that birding interview. We say birding, but we didn't really talk about bird watching, and I think that's what got people turned off. Is Penelope Birding is the name of his business, and his passion is bird watching, but he does so many other things, including coffee plantation tours, and he does so many other things. I don't know, if you're not into bird watching, you look at that and go, oh, I'm not going to watch it. Except it wasn't about bird watching. It's a major city, but geographically isolated. I don't remember. Yeah, Arequipa. I don't remember. I'd be surprised if they didn't go there, though. What don't you like about Colombia? I really want to do a video of the 10 things I hate or 10 things I don't like about Colombia. I struggle with it, honestly. There are some things, but I don't want to. When I get enough, I'm going to do that video. I'm not one to just gush, and say everything's perfect. Nothing's perfect, except, I guess, coming from Ecuador, this place is just so much better, so much more improved, that all the things that I had issues with in Ecuador are not issues here. And so the things that are here don't really faze me. But there are some things. I've got a handful of things. So I'll put a little emphasis on that and see if I can get that out in these next 30 days. That's something I can do without walking around. So, sort of a suggestion. Coleman, thank you. I appreciate the contribution. Colombian cuisine is not that great. Lots of carbs and fried food, but thankfully you can get everything you want in the grocery store. Good variety of fruits and vegetables. Well, yes and no. Colombian cuisine is so many different things. A lot of it, and a lot of the basic, is exactly what you say, because it historically goes back to when people worked in cane fields and farms and coffee plantations, and kind of like in the U.S. Amish food today, if you sit down and eat a slice of Amish apple pie, that's probably like 10,000 calories. It's made with lard, and except back in the day when everybody cooked that way, it's because they were out doing hard labor. They're out chopping wood and tending the fields and like that. And so those carb heavy things here, you can have potato and rice on the same plate, and French fries sometimes, like salt potatoes, rice, and French fries. They're always pretty generous with meat. In Ecuador, you might get half a forkful, for your lunch. Here, it's like you get a quarter of a chicken or something. They're really good with their vegetables here. That was another thing in Ecuador. What they called vegetables there were red onions. And that gets old fast. So their meals tend to be well balanced, just don't eat all the carbs. For example, if I go out and I order a lunch, I always tell them without rice. I just don't want it, don't need it. But it's a memory thing then. It's a social thing. If they're not getting rice, they think, it's more than just the rice. It's their mother and their grandmother who made it when they were sick and come home from school and had rice, and you grow up with something and you love it. It's more than just a food. And so that's why you see a lot of these things. But you can get Indian food and Chinese food. Mexican is big here. I had a burrito the other night. It was freaking amazing. Oh my God, it was so good. It was with shredded beef. It was just killer. What was the cost? It was 15,000 pesos, whatever that is in dollars. Somebody can figure it out. But it was 1.5 foot long, this big around, and it was 2.5 meals. Seriously, I ate half for a meal, and then I ate a little bit of it for a snack, and then the next day I ate the rest of it for lunch. And $3, yeah, delivered. It's crazy, and it was, oh my God, it must have had 3/4 of a pound of shredded beef in it. It was crazy, cheese, and it was awesome. Yeah, as big as my head with my hat. $5, yeah, maybe, I don't know, whatever. It's a bargain. But not only that, but there's Colombian food that's not that. Soups especially. They have a lot of different soups and stews and casseroles that are pretty healthy. If they have fish is very popular, especially you get a whole fish fried. That's killer. But you can get it cooked any way you want, really. So I hear what you're saying, except there's a greater range of food for Colombian food. When I lived here before, I hated it because I didn't realize the scope of it. And also back then, they used 0 spice. The closest they would get to spice was salt. And it was so bland. There was no such thing. There was no hot sauce. I went to a gringo store. Well, it wasn't a gringo store. There weren't enough gringos for that. But there was a large supermarket that had a real small section of imported items. And there I was able to buy hot sauce. Now you find hot sauce everywhere. They know about spice. They use spices for all kinds of things. A lot of people that I met here, they love spicy food. When I was here before, I love to cook, and I would cook certain dinners for the people that I would stay with. The biggest hit was spaghetti and meatballs, all done homemade. Pasta, sauce, everything homemade from scratch. I had to grind the beef with the old-fashioned grinder, but I made some other things. If I put black pepper, just like a little black pepper that I would do out of habit, they would notice it and say, "Oh my God, it's too spicy." What? I just put a little black pepper. They saw black pepper as like we would see a ghost pepper. That's how it was then. Now it's, I don't know. Now it's like normal. Things are normal. I get tacos from my favorite taco place that I've talked about. He's home delivering. I get hit. I don't know where I think he makes his own hot sauce. It's so good. It's a little thick, but it's so good. It's really spicy. It's like kind of out your nose and ears. So food has changed a lot as far as that goes. And a lot of the traditional foods, they're spicing up a little. And I don't just mean hot, but I mean with various kinds of spices, more than just cumin. So no, Colombian food, there's a lot of it that's good, that's there, but you also have a huge range of everything else. Ecuador versus Colombia, summarize and generalize. Ecuadorians come up with reasons why something can't happen. Colombians always find a way to get something done. Man, that is so true. That is yet one more way to describe it quite accurately. Burritos that big around. That's what she said. Okay, all right. Okay, we're going to end it today. Thank you for putting up with me. I'm glad that you know of an Indian restaurant. I looked for one in Medellin but couldn't find one. A Thai restaurant in El Paso went out of business. Yeah, you can get Indian food delivered. There's a vegetarian place that has some Indian dishes too. But who knows when this is over? You know, who's going to be, you know, this is like a sad reality show, the last man standing kind of thing. It's, you know, it's all a shuffle. You never know. I find some places that were popular that I can no longer order from because they've gone out of business. So, okay, I'm going to end it here. Thank you all. Thank you for the contribution. Thanks for tuning in, putting up with my boring sorry butt. And I'll see you next Sunday.